What is up, everybody? Just here on my lunch. Got a quick little message here. I'm going to use the metaphor of smoking a cigarette, and we have three things that we have: our mind, our body, and our spirit. I think first and foremost comes our body, because that's what takes on the earthly damage. That's what takes on, that's what we live in, is our body. It's like the earth's crust, right? That's what hits, that's what's first. Okay, and then is the mind, and then is the spirit, and those aren't in order of importance or relevance. Stick with me here. This is so remember, a cigarette for smoking, right? The body is the vessel that takes the damage, the cancer, the wheezing, the coughing, the emphysema. It's like a ship. The body takes the damage. The body carries the mind and the spirit. Okay, if you don't take care of your body, your mind and your spirit fall victim to it, and everything is lost. So that's your body. The mind is why you smoke. The idea, it's not the addiction of the body, but the why. Why did you start? That's the mind. That's your mental attachments to cigarettes and stress relief and what it brings you. The mind. Why do you smoke? Why? Is it to suppress? Is it to suppress your stress? Is it to manage your anxiety? Is it to... The mind is the why. The mind is kind of like the wiring to, why we do what we do. The mind, the reasons. There was a set of twins raised by an alcoholic father, and one of them was caught drinking one day, and somebody asked him, "Why are you drinking?" And he's like, "Well, I was raised by an alcoholic, so I'm drinking." And the other one never touched a drop in his life. I said, "Why aren't you drinking?" He says, "Because I was raised by an alcoholic. I see what it did. That's why I'm not drinking." So the mind is the reasons why we do the things we do. It's not necessarily what we suppress. That's part of the body. The mind is the why. Why do you smoke? Did you get the idea from someone that said, or someone that exemplified that it's not a big deal, or everybody's doing it? It's that original idea that you got as to why you're smoking. Parents, friends, stress relief, whose lead you took. Someone made you feel like it's okay or not a big deal. Your friend smoked, or you heard how it helps some people solve stress, so you took that on. So anyways, that is the mind. Like I said, it's the wiring to why we do what we do. Okay, now we're gonna get a little bit deeper. Okay, it's the spirit. The spirit. Okay, the spirit is in relation to smoking. The spirit is your attachment through this thing to peace, right? So your spirit is 100% tied to the Father above. That's where it gets. Your spirit is your direction. The Father is your spirit's direction. The body is the mind's direction. Everything follows another thing, and it all leads back to God. It said, at the head of every man ought to be Christ, and at the head of Christ is God. So everything has something that it follows, okay? Your body follows the mind follows the spirit, and the spirit follows the Father. It's aid and direction through earthly ways. So when we smoke, or we drink, or whatever we use to dull the pain, or to have fun with whatever, what have you, the reasons why we do what we do, that would be in the mind, right? It's all attached to peace. What we say is peace in our subconscious. So to some, arguing is peace. Conflict is peace, because that's what they were raised around. So they are not at peace unless something familiar is happening, right? So if they're raised in arguing, bickering, yelling, then the only way that they're going to get peace is if they're around familiar territory, they're around familiar behavior. We gravitate towards peace. But I told you, everything follows another thing. So we are following our example. So the spirit is the only thing out of mind, body, spirit. The spirit is the only thing that can provide direction. Everything else is subject to earthly ways. Everything else is subject to the tide, the ship, right? Everything else goes with the tide. But the spirit provides the GPS. Now, I did this in a shorter, it was like a picture post earlier this week. The GPS, to me, God's pulling spirit. Now, if you let either body or mind lead your way, you're never going to find peace. You're always going to be subject to somebody else's disagreement or disapproval. They don't approve, so you conform. It says, be ye not conformed by this world, but by the renewing of your mind. Whoa. So if I renew my mind, if I renew my wiring system, then all else will follow. The spirit is always attached to the Father, so I don't have to worry about rewiring my spirit. That's already a given. He gave that to me. He gave me that link to him through my spirit. But if I rewire my mind, right? If I take a look and I take a step back and say, you know what? Is this healthy? Like, is this hurting me, or is this helping me? Is this putting a dirty Band-Aid on a wound, or is this stitching it closed? And that's what smoking or excess drinking does. I think we get tripped up on what provides peace in our life. So body, mind, spirit, the spirit is constantly connected to the Father. So if be ye not conformed by this world, but by the renewing of your mind. So if you renew your mind, you rewire it. Okay? If you rewire your mind and you start seeing the things that are bad about, the example that we're using, smoking. If you start stacking up, instead of stacking up the reasons why it's helpful, why you should be doing it, if you instead stack up the reasons why you shouldn't, why it's harming you, what's at jeopardy, right? If you are not going to be on this earth for as long of a time because you've picked up this stress relief habit, that's going to go in that category. That's going to go in that category of not helpful. Be ye not conformed by this world, but by the renewing of your mind. Rewire it. The enemy always wants you to think in the first two. Always. Because it's what you feel. He will attack you through your feelings. When we're taught as we're growing up, think before you act. I think that's a foot in the door for the devil to attack. Think before you act. Okay, so now all I got to do is supplement their thinking and I will render them crippled. They won't be able to move if it's paralysis by analysis. Okay? He will attack you in the first two, body and mind. And he'll have you thinking that spirit is... You can't see spirit. It's not even real. Can you see gravity? Can you see air? But you know it's real. Body, mind, spirit. That's it for today.